Stiff truth.
Oh, Bob West, you son of a bitch. You old so-and-so. Well, I'll tell you what, Bob. I say we just go ahead and get started and do the show. Welcome to the Stiff Truth. We are back, baby. There you go, Bob. That's what I like to see. My goodness, it's great to see you. I see you a lot, but not in the show format in a little while. It's been a couple of months, but happy to be back, Bob. How the hell are you doing, man? You doing good today?
I'm hanging in there.
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got Jesus Christ, there's been so many things going on, Bob, since we've been on our hiatus, but a sabbatical, so to speak. But first and foremost, it's been a while, and this has nothing to do with the show. It's been a long time since you and I have mixed up a cocktail, because usually we're just taking shots of whiskey or drinking some beers. I'm gonna say this. I'm a little disappointed us. Our creativity has been lackluster when it comes to the alcohol connoisseuring over the past couple of months, but we're back and we got a butte today. Don't you think?
Yeah. It's been a while since we did gin. So I like to circle back now that we have more bandwidth.
You're such an idiot. Oh.
It's pretty good. I can tell it's missing something because unfortunately I couldn't locate my bitters today and the show had to go on. So mental note, I need more bitters.
You son of a bitch. I'll tell you what.
Angostura bitters.
Yes, the world does not stop and start at your whim. All right. Is that what you're saying? The world must go on?
It ought to.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. How does it taste? So minus the bitters, that's going to add a nice little pow to it all and really just change it up. Maybe the finishing touch. But let's see here. Let me just take a sip of the Fitzgerald. Oh, God, I'll tell you what, bro. We were just talking about it before we started recording. The star of the show here, you would think maybe is the gin, but it is the freshly squeezed lemon juice. My God, that is just tart and just fresh and just vibrant. It's really good, but not a bad drink. I'll tell you what, I can't even taste the gin. Can you taste the gin?
I can taste the gin, but I also don't have the bitters. The bitters does take the edge off.
This is true. Well, Bob, you know what? You're probably going to have to give yourself a different name. Like I'm having a Fitzgerald, and then would this be let's see.
It's just a Fitzgerald. It's not the full Gerald.
It's Fitzgerald. You're having a Fitzgerald over there. I'm having a Fitzgerald. Well, it's good. I'll tell you what. I like this one, and I'll tell you why. It's simple. It does qualify as a cocktail because there's more than 2 ingredients, but it is very simplistic. In fact, when I sent it over to you, and God, I don't remember the fella's name. Do you remember where we got it from? It's on TikTok. Gentlemen, we also got...
I'll look it up.
Good, because another thing I want to give a shout out to is he also recommended for a good sipping bourbon that's not like top shelf price, but top shelf palate. 4 Roses small batch. And I'm going to say that was also a very good recommendation. Both Bob and I did get some 4 Roses small batch over the weekend. Bob, did you have a chance to try yours yet, or you still got to break the seal on that bad boy yet?
I have not tried it yet.
Okay, that's all right. Well, check that out. While you're doing that, I'm going to let everybody know what's in this bad boy. Did you already go through that? I can't even remember if you did. I think you mentioned a couple ingredients, but I'll go through the preparation.
I didn't name the ingredients.
All right, Stiffies. It's been a while. I know you're salivating there. You've got your pen and pencil and maybe a legal pad ready to rock and roll. But if you want to make a Fitzgerald and enjoy it with me and Bob or on your own time with your friends and family, you don't need much. All you really need is an ounce of simple syrup. That's your first. A 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice. That's your second. Then 2-3 dashes of bitters, and then 2 ounces of your favorite gin. Put that shit in a shaker, shake that bitch up, strain it into a nice short glass with a decent amount of ice to your liking. I put a lot of ice, and it comes out looking like this, which is pretty nice. And goodness, it's a nice little taste. I would definitely make this one for people to impress, because I think it's kind of an eclectic kind of drink.
So I didn't go to the bartender's book to crosswalk this one to see if it's in there or not. But credit does go to @Brendan's Bar. That's BrendenDen SBAR, Brendan's Bar at TikTok. Give him a follow. He has some good drinks on there. It's all drinks.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
fantastic
gem.
rec. Yeah, that's a fantastic rec. The other thing that's fantastic is your enunciation. I like how you really added that in there. Your Brendan's Bar. I like that. Very, very good.
Well, we got to make sure that it's coming across over radio. I'll put the actual at up on the screen during post production here, but right there, Brendan's Bar.
We have, you know, the stiff truth. We have no room for error. But anyways, great cocktail. And honestly, Bob, I was pretty excited just to make a drink today that I haven't made before and to try it out. Because honestly, for the past couple of months, it's been, what have I made? I've made White Russians. I've made mimosas, maybe. I think that's about it. Other than that, I've been drinking beers and having shots of whiskey.
Yeah, I've during our break, I think I made some beers, and then I made some shots of whiskey. I don't think there was much in between.
You made some beers.
Yeah. Like, so the ingredients were me walking to Walmart and reaching into the cold cabinet and pulling out the Michelob Ultra tall boys and cans.
Well, I appreciate that. Knowing that you were going to increase your caloric intake, you walked to Walmart, which is always good. So you made sure
all the way from the parking lot. I've been working on me, a better, stronger, faster, leaner me. So
I'm impressed. You always impress me, Bobby, and that's a big thing here. I think we should just get right into it. There's a lot to talk about here, and I'm going to tease a little something here, but folks, this might be alarming for some people. For some people, it might be great news. For some people on the cusp of what we'll talk about a little bit later, this might be really deflating news. But penises are getting larger, Bob. They're getting larger, but apparently that's not a good thing, Bob. So,
or is it?
Well, we'll talk about
coming
that
up later in the show.
God, that really just gets hook, line, and sinker, Bobby. But I do want to talk about first something that both you and I do appreciate a lot. We love the NBA. I would say that is this your favorite thing to watch throughout the year over football? I think I remember you saying that.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I've been playing basketball since I was old enough to throw the ball up on the makeshift hoop on our shed. Over dirt. I played on dirt until I was like 12 years old. So I've been playing basketball for my whole life. It's my favorite sport by far. And I think it's the most entertaining sport of athletic prowess, right? I don't think it has quite the drama as a good football game. And I think some of that is, you know how a good speaker will pause to really drive home the effect.
You know, I almost threw up with excitement when you took that pause. I'll be honest with you. I was like, oh God, just do it.
And that's kind of how football is, right? Because then you have set plays and then you like have a 25, 30-second reset while the play clock's going. And like by that time, everyone's anticipating this next play and it's just like really drawn out and slow, very tantric game, even at its peak, but basketball is not like that. Basketball is just nonstop, balls to the wall. It's probably the most back and forth exhilarating sport that there is. I know some people will say hockey or soccer, but those of us that aren't gay, we like basketball.
Holy shit! Here we go, right out of the gate already. Well, no, and you're right, and I think this also has to do with hockey, soccer, and basketball. But I think the difference between football and why football can be more dramatic and suspenseful is the scoring is a big deal, and it doesn't nearly happen as frequently. Whereas in basketballs, well, let's take soccer out of the picture, but let's take hockey out of the picture too. But with basketball, the scoring is so frequent on both ends of the table, you get numb to the excitement over a singular score versus football, where it's a huge deal. It's a build up. You know what I mean? So I think that can be a little to do. And that's also what makes, basketball so exciting too. There's constantly scoring going on. There's back and forth, balls to the walls, people scoring all over. Do you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah, it's like Leonardo DiCaprio's dating life.
But I do want to talk about our boy, McClung. Is that right?
Matt
Is it
McClung.
Matt McClung. I'll tell you what. Now, the NBA dunk competition used to be something that was really, really cool. I'm going to say it trailed off the past decade or so. Would you agree with that time frame, or would you like to put a finer point on that? Because that's just me kind of, again, spitballing here, and I'm thinking Vince Carter was really cool, but that was like early 2000s, right? So
I think
late
it
90s.
was 2000 when he did that nasty ass elbow hanging dunk. The dunk contest was a premier event in the NBA for a couple of decades.
Yeah, 80s and 90s, I think.
The 80s and 90s. After Vince Carter, it kind of trailed off. I mean, there was a Blake Griffin show that was pretty good and memorable. I remember Dwight Howard put on the Superman cape and he did the dunk over somebody. Blake Griffin dunked it over like a Volkswagen or something. I mean, there was some cool things here and there sprinkled in, but overall, we haven't had consistency and competitiveness in the dunk contest. And some of it's because some of the high-flying, high-paid athletes don't want to do it. They don't want to risk injury. They don't want to take the time out. They just want to go be an all-star and not have to deal with all that. And we've been ending up with kind of how the Olympic basketball games used to be in the late 80s, or in the 80s and early 90s, where it was amateurs only. Pros couldn't compete in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so inherently the basketball was fucking terrible in the Olympics until the Dream Team. And that was the first time the pros actually could compete in the Olympics. And, we all saw what happened. Same thing in the dunk contest. If we can start getting premier athletes in there, that's what we need. And not to say that, first of all, Mike McClung is a premier athlete. He may not be a premier basketball talent. Who knows? Maybe he'll be great in the NBA. But as far as athleticism goes, this dude, check him out on YouTube, TikTok. This dude is a high flyer.
He's an athletic freak. And the other thing is, obviously this is more dramatic, but he reminds me a little bit of the excitement that you got when you saw Spud Webb get out there and do some crazy dunks back in the late 80s too. Now, obviously I say that because Spud Webb is like half a foot shorter than Mac McClung, but Mac McClung is what, 6'2", 6'3", not the biggest guy that's out there.
And he's point guard size.
Yeah, and I'm going to say for guys that do the dunk contest, the average height is probably a few inches taller or more, right? Where it just makes it a little bit easier. And the other thing is this. He's a goofy looking dude. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Not a bad looking guy, but just goofy looking guy.
He looks like he's right off the farm in Iowa. I mean, he is just a corn-fed looking, big brow, kind of a Neanderthal look to him.
Yeah.
He's just kind of a normal Joe. I'd say on the gaydar there, he's probably like a 3, maybe a 4.
Solid 3.
You dress him up in some like really expensive, nice gear. Maybe he's hitting 4.
Throw him in some pumps. Hey, that'll make him 6'5" too. You know what I mean? It's like, but seriously, the guy, I didn't believe it when I saw. I was like, wait, who won the slam dunk? Well, that fucking dude? You're kidding me, man. And then watching him, I mean, very impressive. But I don't know if you saw like some of the tweets he got from like Reggie Miller, a couple other people too, like really giving this guy some great street cred and some props there. I thought it was phenomenal, and it kind of went viral in the sense that I think it gave that shot in the arm that the NBA slam dunk competition needed, because it was lackluster. And how great that a dark horse, an ugly duckling, so to speak, just comes out and dominates like
emphasis
that.
On the ugly too. So interesting thing about Mac.
Sorry, Mac. We love you.
So he's been in the D League this year.
Yeah.
I think he's 19.
He's a young kid too. Very young.
He's a young kid. And so he's in the D League, and he actually got promoted to oh man, what team is he even on?
I don't even know. I'm going to tell you, I don't even know, and I didn't even know he played.
Pistons?
Here, well, I'll look it up real quick. Here, you just keep going. Fill in some time.
He got brought up from the D League specifically so that he could enter in the dunk competition. So 2 days or something before
he's a 76er.
He's a 76er. Yeah, Sixers.
Yeah.
So he got brought up. And will this translate into good basketball? I don't know. Can we just keep them around for the dunk competition?
Absolutely, we can. Dude, we need ringers like this for specific events. There's nothing wrong with that. And like you were saying, I think there's just as much pride that I would have being like the premier slam dunk mastermind versus the guy with the highest basketball intelligence. I'm not a Kobe Bryant. I'm not a Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? I'm not a Larry
Did you catch
Bird.
His first dunk?
I think I saw all of his dunks.
Okay, so first of all, every single dunk he did, he got on the first try. And that never happens, right? That never happens. This dude just went and threw down. His very first dunk, he did a 540 windmill reverse jam at like 6'3".
See, those are the kind of dunks, though, whether you see it live, especially if you see it live, but when you're home watching TV, when you see like a sleeper come out and do something like that, that's you get out of your seat and you do one of the, oh damn, you gotta throw out one of those. It comes out of people like as a reflex when you see
much were all the reactions of the people there, including all the players. Yeah. This guy lit it up and the crowd was hype. This dude is throwing down like something we haven't seen in 15 years or more. I think he might have single-handedly saved the dunk competition and brought it back to relevance, if not prominence. Next year, we're going to be looking for a repeat. I guarantee.
Well, and I bet you what, this is motivated and given inspiration to youngsters and other people in the league. They're like, you know what? I'm a pretty badass dunker, dude. Maybe I should, maybe I should throw my name in the hat next year and see what I can do here. Yes, the competition is going to be more lively, more vibrant. It's going to be nice.
Not all point guards, though, can jump up and hit their head on the rim.
No,
again, a little different.
He's an athletic freak of nature, and it's great, and it's just inspiring to see something like that. A complete no-namer now is a big name, at least in the slam dunk world. So that was really cool, fun, and here we are, Bob. We got to talk about it. We are now 2 solid weeks past the close of the 2022-23, I'll say 2023, just tail end, but 2022 NFL season.
He's 24, sorry, and he's 6'2".
Okay.
I just had to verify that, so I didn't interrupt.
Love that. No, you're fine. Here at the Stiff Truth, we don't have any room for error. You know what I mean? This is 100% on fucking point. Nothing ever off by a little bit. So thanks for the correction there. But Bob, I want to get your thoughts on some things since the close of the NFL season, because we do love to talk shop NFL. And I'm going to breeze right by the Super Bowl because I think the playoffs were a little disappointing all in all. Regardless of who your team is.
The first round of the playoffs, pretty badass.
That's because your team won.
Well, no, but it was all the close games that come down to final score games. That like almost every single game was a final possession type of game,
except for the Buffalo game.
Well, that was second round. That was the second.
Oh, that's second round. Yeah, that was not a close game. Who did they play first? I can't even remember now. I don't remember, dude. Interesting. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, that's okay. The Dolphins.
Oh, that's right. I was like, well, it doesn't really matter anyways because they got stopped by the fucking Bengals in the next game. But Chiefs are Super Bowl victors. That's great. Patrick Mahomes did it high on painkillers, which I do respect that. I really do respect that. But
he played a legendary game. That was a legendary game. That's going to go down with like the TO leg broken game.
And high on pain pills too. Don't get it twisted. Even though you're not feeling any pain, clarity wise, you're not 100% when you're really high on pain pills. So to be able to come out, not throw any picks, and give like just an MVP performance like he did, again, tip of the hat, sir. Tip of the hat. That means that you are really good. He had filters on. He had druggy filters on at that time, and still persevered through.
Luckily, Travis Kelce's just a freak. I mean,
yeah.
Did you see some of the routes he was running to where he would get the defender running the other way, and while he went to turn, he would turn the other way, and then all of a sudden, Travis Kelce is like 15 yards wide open. I'm like, oh my God, guys, come on. How do you lose someone of that size?
Well, I'll say this, and this is going to be a short, stiff truth here, but Travis Kelce, hands down, best tight end that's ever played the game. And I think people are going to be chasing for a long time. If you turn the page and say, oh, who's the best receiver, that's going to be up to debate. And there's going to be new people entering that conversation all the time. I think Travis Kelce is going to be on an island by himself. And that includes like Gronk and Tony Gonzalez and everything like that.
I think he's already there. And I don't even think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer if he retires tomorrow.
Yeah,
and he's probably still got like 5, maybe 10 years in that range that he can actually play effectively. Probably another 5 at the current rate that he's at and peak performance that he's at. I mean, who knows how many yards this guy's going to get. He's going to end up fighting for not just like the best tight end, but he's going to be like top 5 all-time receiving yards in the NFL history.
Yeah, I agree 100%. In like the past couple of years, he's been in the top 5 receiving, and everybody else has been like a wide receiver, which is interesting. And he's never really gotten the injury bug. So his longevity seems to be very seems very realistic that he's going to be in the league for a long time too. Because again, he hasn't been on that constant injury kind of out. So, but with that being said, we're now in the drama of NFL free agency here. I think most notably we've got. Like we have, it seems like this is like Groundhog's Day with Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? It's like, oh God, where am I going to go?
Well, he's not a free agent. No. That's the interesting part is he's got 2 years on his contract.
But still, he's probably, well, I'd say there's a 50-50 that he doesn't play for Green Bay next year. That's about a 50-50. I think that, and honestly, just to talk about that real quick, I think they should drop him. I think this constant year-over-year drama and like fucking playing hard to get kind of thing at 39 will be 40 the year after that. It's like enough is enough. Plus they can't bankroll anybody else of any notoriety on the team. They're going to have to like roll the dice and hope they do well in the draft every year if they're going to keep him because he's so fucking expensive. So I say they got to somebody else got to pick him up. They got to rework that contract anyways, probably to keep him. Anybody else does. And they go with Love, right? And actually like use their money somewhere else. You know what I mean? And actually get like a better offense. Maybe just put some money in the offensive line, a couple more weapons on the offense. Their defense was okay. I don't know if it's screaming need there, but that's what I think they do. And there he's like, where should Rodgers go? Should he go to the Jets? Should he go to the Oakland and reunite with Devontae Adams? That seems unlikely because their defense was so shitty. I know Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't want to go there or compete against Patrick Mahomes, twice a year too. So interesting. I'm not sure anywhere else or if there's any more rumor mills about where he could be going, but it seems to be the Jets or maybe Oakland. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's really the only two places that can afford him. He's asking for $50 million. And at this point of his career, he should just be doing 1-year contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And just like LeBron does, right? I think he does 1 or 2 year contracts, has for the last several years, right? Just so that he's not stuck anywhere and he always has the leverage himself to make his decisions. It makes sense to put him in Oakland. I think that's the best place that it makes sense. I don't think if I was New York, I'd be looking for Aaron Rodgers because I think you need to get I think Derek Carr's a better fit there. That gives you a longer window there. Aaron Rodgers has like 1 year left, maybe 2, at peak performance. And who's to say he's even at peak performance? Right. His last year sucked ass. He was average. So I can't say that he's good. Now, I know the team wasn't very good, but he did still have a probably Hall of Fame running back there, at least Hall of Fame talent at running back. And they got 2 good running backs with A.J. Dillon and why can't I remember their main number 1 running back?
Aaron Jones.
Thank you. Right. And then their young receivers started to come along. Christian Watson, who became pretty much a legit number 1 during the season. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but it makes sense for them to move on because $50 million is going to handicap them for the rest of their team. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be in purgatory, which is, let's be honest, where he's been for a decade. So if he goes to Oakland, they have enough money to try to put some talent around him and try to take a shot. If he goes to the Jets, they got their shot, but they're forfeiting their future, and they built their team too well to forfeit their future at this point and make a typical Jets move. If they go Derek Carr, they'll lower the bar a little bit more, but they'll also get a window of like 4 or 5 years. And can Derek Carr win with a top 5 D? I don't know. You got Breece Hall back there. You got a great young receiving core back there, including an offensive rookie of the year. Garrett Wilson.
You got Sauce Gardner on the defense. You got a lot of great young talent there.
Yeah.
So, and they were scary, and then they just like kind of skidded mid-season. They were like right there in the mix, and then all of a sudden they started to get overtaken. And they got
close to playoff time, Scott. I mean, defenses started stiffening up, and they had no quarterback.
Yeah,
they lost Breece Hall.
Yeah, they had quarterback debacle going on there. I mean, when Joe Flacco has to come in multiple times to try to save the day, quote unquote, that's not a good look. I will tell you this. So speaking about this, like, which sounds like a shoe and how you're talking about it, though, I think the Jets fucked up with Derek Carr. They came out, they whined and dined him. They talked sweet nothings in his ear, and then they are obviously not pulling the trigger because they are seeing what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, and they're also kind of looking at Lamar too. So they kind of said like, "Hey, you're great. You're a great fit. You could be a Hall of Famer if you go with us." They even told him that, but you're second fiddle until we figure out what's going on here. And I think that kind of burned him. And if I was him, I wouldn't go to the Jets because I want the confidence from everybody in the front office and the team that I'm your number 1 guy, not the backup plan. So I think he should go to the New Orleans Saints when we're talking about Derek Carr. I think that's I
don't think he's going to because I don't think he wants to. I don't. Well, he went and talked to New Orleans and it was all good, but then he instantly enacted his no trade clause. Like, and that did open him up to really be in the driver's seat. But I don't think he should go anywhere. I don't think Derek Carr should go anywhere. He should make the Raiders cut him. And then he's free to do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to stick to the contract that he's on. And he can have a whole new contract in the current market. That would be the best business sense for him. And then he's got no restrictions. Whoever has the money can buy him. Of course, he has no control. And then he's also opening himself up to lesser teams that have more money. And then it's just kind of, well, where's the balance there?
Yeah, that's an interesting predicament there. Well, we'll see what happens. I think where Derek Carr goes is kind of the chess piece that'll like be a domino effect for some other players and teams. I think that's going to be interesting. So I'll be surprised if Aaron Rodgers comes out of his little darkness retreat that he's at right now, like ready to go with a clear plan right out of the gate and makes a decision. I doubt that. I think he's going to wait on the sidelines too and kind of see what happens with Derek Carr and some other players. I mean, the other really big one is you got Lamar Jackson.
Who I'm pretty sure is a free agent, but they can franchise tag him.
Yes, they can. And the Ravens, I think, are stupid for not doing what they can to secure him, considering they've built their team around how he plays offense and how he quarterbacks, right? So like letting him go right now. I mean, you got Tyler Huntley or whatever, which kind of moves like Lamar. He kind of plays a similar game, but let's face it, he's a poor man's Lamar. So I just don't know what's going to happen there. I liked your little conspiracy theory that you told me about. I hadn't heard that, but with Eric Bieniemy being picked up by Washington after successfully winning another Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, you're thinking that might be an intent on Washington to try to go grab Lamar and bring him over there, huh?
Well, it makes perfect sense for me. First, Eric Bieniemy knows what to do with the quarterback that knows what to do with the ball. And Lamar Jackson is that guy. He knows what to do with the ball. He's not as good of an improviser or thrower as Mahomes, but he is faster. He's a better runner, but he can drop dimes. Lamar Jackson is a dime dropper, and I think people confuse him with like Cordell Stewart or something. He is not just a running quarterback. In college, he smashed records at Louisville for passing the rock. This dude drops dimes, and he runs because he can. And he runs because the defense lets him have it, and then he punishes them for it. And then when they start keying on him, then he starts throwing the ball. He hasn't had very many receivers to throw the ball to in his whole career. So if you put him on a Washington team who, let's be honest, has a pretty solid young receiving core, and a good couple of running backs there, and a solid defense, that's the star of the team. Man, you combine him with Rivera, who obviously knows how to set up a read option and let the quarterback play to the quarterback's strengths. Yeah. And then you get Eric Bieniemy's creativity on offense. That's a combination right there that ends you up with the NFC Championship.
Well, I like it. There's a couple things here that I want to point out about that too. Is one, with Washington's luck and Lamar's injury history of recent past. I could see that being a total Washington thing. Like, let's pick up Lamar, and then he gets injured week 2, week 3, and he's out for the rest of the season.
Like something terrible, like a broken leg.
Oh, dude, he's gonna RG3 himself or Alex Smith himself. I could keep bringing up more examples if I need to. The other thing that would suck for Washington, but at this point we're kind of poised, like who cares, is we'd have to give up probably draft picks for the next 3 or 4 years.
You would be stuck with what you got and mortgaging your future.
But we're used to that. We like to do this. We usually do it for aging veterans who have already passed their peak. But with Lamar, it might be a little bit different of a story.
Well, here's what you get. You get an NFL MVP and a guy that's got one of the best winning percentages since he joined the league as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, it's interesting. I don't know. Let's think about it. Is there any other notable kind of storylines when we talk about NFL free agency drama here?
I mean, we really look at quarterbacks because they have the most impact on the team. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of free agents out there that, I mean, you see Bates for Cincinnati. They're all pro safety. He doesn't want to come back. They tagged him last year and he doesn't want to come back. And after you get tagged, dude, you're pretty much saying this is our last year, because it leaves a burn taste in the player's mouth, because that means you wouldn't commit to them and give them a contract. And then you kept them from leaving by tagging them. So it's like a double whammy, right? So So he's going to end up going somewhere. I'd love it if Dallas could finagle that because they need a safety. That would be pretty awesome.
That's the other one, though. What do you think about the Odell Beckham Jr. fiasco with well, let's just talk about your team for a minute. There's a lot that needs to go on there, not just free agency, but just the makeup of the team offensive wise, we'll say. Let's talk offensive wise, because their defense, again, I don't think you really need to change that much. You could upgrade it if you want to, but I think that's a luxury at this point. I don't think it's a necessity. So
yeah, the spots to upgrade in the defense are pretty much in between the tackles. Maybe a defensive tackle upgrade could be good. Or you're looking at maybe a cornerback or safety, even though I like their young cornerbacks that they got. They could use a experienced safety to lead that secondary. But their defense is solid. Their offense, it needs a little bit of work. They'd be all right to pick up like a good solid guard or right tackle, I think. But Dak could go. Zeke could go. And I know I just kind of gloss over that. Like, it's like not a big story, but Zeke has to go. Zeke's getting waived, and I don't think there's any way around that. He's $18 million a year, and he's worth about $3 million. So they're $11 million over the cap. So they have to get rid of Zeke. There's no choice. I don't think he's quite put his name in the Ring of Honor, but he's close. I mean, he's got over 10,000 yards rushing, which is a feat for a back with one franchise. But he's never led them into to helping them win anything in the playoffs. And let's be honest, that's what gets you immortality in the NFL is playoff wins. So Zeke's got to go. The question is, what do you do with Dak? I would say Dak's got to go. I think if you dump his $45 million contract, and you pick up someone cheaper, because Cooper Rush is probably going to go. Someone's going to want them on their team. He probably get a shot at starting, or at least be in for a competition to win the job.
I mean, he can go right down the road and just get a starting job at Houston. I think, you know what I mean. Like,
he could maybe, or at least like provide depth in that locker room and create competition. Yeah. But Dak is good enough to be a starter in pretty much most teams, right? But he's not good enough to win. And in Dallas, you have to be good enough to win. Well, being good isn't enough.
He's not $45 million a year good. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, he's making Aaron Rodgers money almost, and he's just not that.
If he was like 30 to 35 million a year, I would say keep the guy. He's a good value, and you still have money to spend. Yeah. But that's not what he did. That's not what he's doing. And he's not earning his keep for that money. And it's just time. I say you look for a trade. I don't know if you're going to get much value out of him. I love the idea I heard floated by Richard Sherman about sending Dak down to Houston for their first round pick. Now, I don't know what else you'd have to get, because I don't know if Dak's worth the number 2 overall pick. But if you do get him, then you can get CJ Stroud on that team under a 4-year deal with a 5th-year team option at a rookie deal. And that opens you up so much for the Cowboys to have so much money over the next half a decade to extend that window. You got Pollard, you got their young Malik, I forget his last name, for their rookie running back that's now a second year. He showed a lot of promise, but you still have a good couple of backs there. Pick up another back in the draft, pick up a couple of linemen, shore up the defense, get a young quarterback, get rid of Dak, get rid of Zeke, and move on. And the Cowboys have an actual plan. But since they have Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones running things, they're probably going to fuck it all up, go with what they got, just tell everyone to play better and keep moving forward.
And then spend a lot of money on Odell Beckham Jr. and call it a day. I'll tell you what, exciting stuff. And we've got more drama will be unfolding over the next few months, and me and Bob will be following it and continuing to lecture on about what we think should happen in the NFL. Moving right along, Bob, I just got an alert on my phone that this fight has just started here. And
it's the undercard, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, I think I think it said the main event, but it might just be the fight it might be just the fight series, like the undercard started. But either way, today, Sunday, February 26th, Bob's boyfriend, Jake Paul. Well, I mean, you want him to be the father of your children. I know that for sure. I don't know about boyfriend or anything like that, but Jake Paul is facing the half brother of the heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. Tommy Fury here. Now, we've been watching a lot of dramatic back and forth here, build up, we'll say, about this fight. Do you think he is going to get a win, or is this where he finally, is Tommy Fury going to go ahead and punch his time clock on this one? Like, what do you think is going to happen here, Bob? Because I have my opinion, but I want to know yours.
Well, it's tough to say, right? I don't know if Tommy Fury has the power to knock him out. I think Jake Paul actually has a decent chin, and he needs it because he's got shitty defense, right? But he does train with some of the best trainers in the world, and he's been training like a professional boxer for 4 years, 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. So the question is how much has he improved since his last fight? That's already been like a year ago, so I don't know. Has his footwork gotten better? Has his movement gotten better? Has he gotten better at telegraphing his punches or not? I don't know. It's just like, where has the improvement gotten? Or is he at his ceiling now and he's just kind of working on, setting up the right fights to match his style to get wins? I don't know. It seems like Jake Paul's pretty hungry to be an athlete, and hungry people do succeed more, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I think this is a good fight for him. I think that Tommy Fury's a solid boxer, and I think he comes from good pedigree, obviously. And I think that he's taking this fight serious, but we'll see. I have no idea how this fight's going to go, because I have a feeling that Jake Paul can knock a lot of people out if he catches them right.
Well, yeah. There's no question there. And there's some interesting just commentary that I want to give on just this, not just this fight, but fights with Jake Paul. No doubt. He surprised a lot of people, and very respectably is just climbing the ranks of getting credibility as a legitimate boxer. I mean, that goes without saying.
That's like something that's not a sideshow, right? Something real,
right? Something that's like that's actually reality based, and the guy has been working his ass off to get there. So these fights are enormously popular, and these are money makers beyond any other fights that are out there right now. Everything that Dana White is doing with the MMA and slap fighting and all that dumb shit, he could take a page from Jake Paul's book, because he's really good at drumming up a lot of haters and lovers, and people go buy that fucking pay-per-view. I'll tell you that right now. He's good at making money with fights. And I think it really boils down to this when I was thinking about it. In the past, his last few fights or whatever, he typically has gotten notable fighters, whether it be MMA or boxing or whatever, but let's face it, that are retired or past their peak, more like a sideshow kind of thing, right? Where you're like, hey, this guy should beat Jake Paul. Jake Paul's a Disney star and a YouTuber. There's no way this, people get really angry when they talk about how much they hate Jake Paul. And then he comes out and surprises him and knocks him out. And then as soon as he knocks him out or takes him down, there's people throwing their hands up because it was rigged. It was rigged. He took the dive. You know what I mean? You're like, of course, so there's just that drama and conspiracy going on. And you've got these people that just want to see these notable, real, we'll call them, quote, fighters and boxers take out this guy that's a joker, that's just, faking it. And then there's the other side of it too, where me subconsciously, I'm rooting for Jake Paul too. At the same time that I'm hating on him a little bit, I'm also saying, you know what? It'd be funny if this kid just walks in here, fucking, Disney hat and all on, and fucking cold cocks this guy and just knocks him out in the first round. That'd be nuts. And he hasn't really done that yet, but he gets close to doing that up against some respectable, now granted, past their time fighters, right? So I think this one is slightly different. And it tips the scale a little bit more to a pure 50-50 match. Like those other ones, analysts and everything say, well, yeah, this is a 50-50 match. There's no way Jake Paul can win this one hands down. Like nobody's going to call it like that because this person actually has pedigree. They have history as a fighter, blah, 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 blah. But this is the first fight, I think, that has been like pay-per-view style. Tommy Fury is a legitimate boxer right now. That's his profession.
Yeah, and his whole life.
Yeah, and he's only 23, 24 years old. So he's not fighting an over-the-hill, retired, I've hung up my gloves, I haven't even exercised in a few weeks kind of fighter. This is a legitimate guy. This guy doesn't need a cash grab. You know what I mean? Like what's the guy's name? Remember the MMA guy that he fought, Ben Askew or something like whatever. That guy, I think, just wanted a cash grab. So it seems like, and he's very fit, very fucking built. The guy's like a tank looking compared to Jake Paul. So it should be pretty interesting, because a part of me again wants to say, oh, dude, he's got Jake's number on this one, dude. He's finally gonna learn his lesson now, getting to fight with a legitimate real fighter presently a fighter, but I don't know. I just don't know.
I would say that this is his first real fight.
Yeah.
This is the one that's going to count on his actual professional boxing record, because anything previous to this is amateur boxing, right?
But this one's going on his resume.
And if he beats Tommy Fury, it's going to open up his career, like legit style. He's going to be a real boxer from this point on, and all of his fights will be actual boxers. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. We haven't seen enough of Jake Paul against professional boxers because we've never seen him against a professional boxer. So it's okay to box someone that's a career jiu-jitsu person that's been retired for 5 years, and they boxed because of MMA. They had to learn to also box. This is not that. This kid's been boxing since he was probably 10 years old or younger, right? So,
right. Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by this, and I think that the genius in Jake Paul is that he's probably the best marketer and promoter since Don King.
100%.
He's got all the people that want to see him succeed buying his pay-per-view. He's got all the people that want to see him get knocked the fuck out and shut his big mouth buying the pay-per-view.
Dude, he is the Howard Stern of boxing promoting. You know what I mean? We'll say that. I'll say he's better than Don King because, again, there's an attraction by every walk of life, either to watch this kid get murdered, watch him succeed because he's the perpetual underdog and the guy that won't be taken seriously, and thirdly, and I think most importantly, just spectators of the sport that want to see this unfold. You know what I mean? It's a 3-pronged attack marketing this shit, and it's gold, bro. I mean, this is so much money here. Did you hear about the deal that he offered to Tommy Fury? I don't think he took it yet or whatever.
No. So I saw the interaction where he said basically, hey, if you win this fight, I'll double your money. And if I win this fight, you get nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But
then his dad said, we'll take the deal. Because his dad's his manager, I guess, behind him. Yeah. And then Tommy didn't look like he wanted the deal. Because, you don't want to train all this time, get all in here, and then go catch a bad hook, get knocked the fuck out, and get nothing for it.
Right. Well, but that also tells you, too, excuse me, he's not that blindly confident in himself as he...
Even though he's saying that he is, clearly. Yes, his reluctance to just jump all over that deal. It says otherwise. But I wouldn't have taken that deal. No way. I want my money. I'm not doing this for free. I'm a pro. This is my job.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. If he was gonna, because a lot of people have said, well, he's gonna throw the fight, or he's gonna throw, whatever. He's planning on just taking a dive.
I don't think so.
I think Jake Paul threw that out. Well, if he's gonna take a dive, how about this deal? You get no fucking money if you lose. How's that? Yeah. Just purely do this out of the kindness of your heart for me? I don't think so.
And maybe he offered that deal, like you said, to shut everyone the fuck up about this conspiracy theory shit. Because it does discredit him. All kinds.
And let's face it, it's not like Jake Paul needs the money. You know what I mean? This dude at age 24, 25, whatever. I want to say maybe he's 26. Can you fact check me on that real quick? How old is he? I think his brother might be 26, but I think maybe he's 26. I'm holding with 26. Let's see what you got. Oh man, the suspense is ridiculous. Bob's face as he works. We'll see. Come on, baby.
Jake Paul is 26.
Yeah, boy. All right. So, but yeah, 26 years old, but he's made so much money on YouTube and his last 3 or 4 fights or whatever. I mean, the kid does not need the money. So interesting to see. I want to do this though, because look, it's going to be happening. By the time we publish this show, the fight will be long over. You call it, Bob. Who's going to win in what round? Let's go.
Oh, man.
Come on, baby. Just give it to me. Don't even think about it, Bob. First thing that comes to your mind, baby. First thing that comes to your mind.
I'm going to go Tommy Fury in a decision.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. I'm going to go. How many rounds is it going to be? 10 rounds? I want to say it's... Yeah, see how many rounds it's going to be, because I just don't want to go over my allotment that I have here. Oh man!
I just found it. Sorry, I wasn't ready for this question. I didn't have it ready.
What is it, Bob? 10 rounds? 12 rounds? 8 rounds? I want to say it's 10 or 12. Usually it's 12, but these exhibition fights, I never know. Well, either way,
I'll look for it.
I don't know if anybody's going to get knocked out. You think decision? It's going to go Tommy Fury. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say I'm going to say Fury's going to knock out Jake Paul in the 7th round. How do you like that? And I'm just going out there. I think it may go the other direction here. If anything, in all logical reality, it's probably going to be won by decision. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to decision if Jake Paul doesn't go ahead and just take it too. So interesting. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, Bob,
I'm not really seeing it.
That's okay.
8 round.
Okay, 8 rounds. So it's the 7th round. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Tommy Fury knocks him out 7th round. We'll see if that. Bob says it's going to go to decision. Bob, you're probably more reality based here, and I think what's going to happen. But I like to be dramatic, so let's see maybe if that happens. I do think though it's going to be a ridiculous close fight. I do not think if it goes to the cards, I think it's going to be one where people are screaming bullshit depending on which way it goes. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard, I think, to determine if it goes to the cards.
I was like, let's see what the tail of the tape is, and I have no clue. Jake Paul is 6'1", 13 stones and 5 pound. So whatever the fuck that means.
Oh, I think they're 5 pounds different. I think one's like 1.8. No,
they're 1 stone different because the other one, Tommy Fury, is 6 foot, 12 stone, 5 pounds. So 1 stone different. How much is a stone? I don't know.
I don't even know what the hell that means, dude. What kind of shit is that? A stone? Weight of measurement?
14 pounds. So Jake Paul's got about 15 pounds on him.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what happens, Bob. But getting back to what we had talked about earlier here, just switching gears again when we're talking about comparing lengths and measurements or whatnot. Penises are getting bigger, Bob, and apparently that's not a good thing. Now, I've heard this from multiple sources over the past week, and I must say, who does these fucking studies, first of all? I'm just going to throw that out there. Bob, you want to say something?
I do it. I'm going to have to check your dong. Come in here, please. All 4 of you.
long short on this one is it looks like over the past 30 years or so, then the last time that somebody did a study of average erect penis length, it looks like there has been an increase in size by 24%, which is quite substantial, Bob. Now we looked at the numbers here. It looks like back in 1942, which again, I'm not sure. That's kind of a random day.
Does that mean penises have grown by an inch in like 30? I mean 2 inches by 30 years.
Well, Bob, I mean, relatively, maybe so. But it looks like the average erect penis size has increased from 4.8 inches, which again, I've heard different things 20, 30 years ago. So I'm not sure where that number came from, but this may be.
I don't know, but it makes me feel great.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, all right, that's fine. But it has increased to 6 inches in length erect. That's a substantial jump. So again, 24%. Now, what are the causes of this? And now, again, this is great news for some people, right? Great news. We would like to think maybe for women, maybe not for women. Maybe they're like, oh no, if that's the average, what about the outliers now? And then think about this. What about the guys that were on the fringe of being average before? What about the guys that were like 4.9 and they're like, yes, I'm right there. And now this study comes there like, God damn it. Fuck, man. What am I going to do now? Time to hang that weight off.
What about the guys that their like girlfriend or wife has been telling them that, you know, they're big this whole time, and now they're finding out, oh, I'm not big. I'm not even average. I'm not even average for boomers. Damn it.
So, and you think about this, apparently it's not necessarily a good thing for everybody, because according to researchers and doctors in this field, of course, that study the dong, this kind of exponential change in the reproductive makeup of human beings could really dramatically negatively affect reproduction. So, okay, yeah, I'm not really sure where that goes, but okay. The other thing is, how did this happen, Bob? Apparently, what is attributed to the increase in length of, I'm going to put a fine point on this, erect penises, because there has not been an increase in flaccid penises.
Oh, so now we're growers.
We're not showers.
Nice.
We are growers. The Gen Zers are growers, not showers, right? But apparently it is pollution and just bullshit in the air. So like, yeah, I can buy that. The other one is sedentary lifestyle. It seems to be that if you sit on your ass and don't do anything and your parents say you're a good for nothing bum, say, hey, mom and dad, I'm just letting my dick get bigger. All right. So get off my case. I'm trying to impress people. So those are the two factors that they're pointing out: sedentary lifestyle and just toxins and pollution in the environment.
Girl, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. I work out a lot. It's
yeah. So I don't know. Now you've got, when you're looking at Tinder and stuff like that, does he work out a lot? Like, how much is a lot? I don't know if I'm interested if he's at
I
the gym
really need
much.
like someone that's fit but spends a lot of time on the couch.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? I'm really into gamers now all of a sudden, right? So but interesting stuff. I thought this was an interesting study just because, again, who does these fucking studies? But the other thing I thought was kind of interesting too is like the article I was reading, the doctor, whoever, was suggesting that they should make this a regular measurement that they take at the doctor for physicals, which I think would be a pretty interesting thing to add to the docket.
And erect too. Can you bring the nurse in here at least? Because this is getting weird.
No, dude, no. Not her, the male nurse. There we go. Now it feels better. Right? But that's the other thing I thought about too. Like, I can see if they are doing it, because you're already a little on edge in the doctor anyways. Nobody's ever really relaxed nor excited a lot of the time. So yes, to come in and be like, hey, yeah, that's great. That's the same for everybody when it looks like that. Let's get this thing at attention and let's really see what's going on here. Let's understand the health of your body, sir.
Doctor's visits will never be the same.
it's like a makeshift like fucking sperm clinic now too. They've got some porn mags in there. They've got some sex toys, some oil, some lotions. Yeah, it's interesting. So I think that's going to be a hard sell to add that to to the physical checklist, but again, if it's important and this could catastrophically affect the reproductive chances and future of the human race, maybe it should be under consideration. That's all I'm saying.
Take one for the team. Let the doctor jerk you off. Not all the way, not till completion, just a bit.
Yeah, just slap the balls a little bit. It doesn't, just get in there. Get in there. But yes, and Bob and I, of course, here at the Stiff Truth, we will continue to monitor the progress of this study because we want to make sure we understand what's going on here. And God damn it, we want to make sure that bigger penises are healthy for the world. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Not just your sex life, but for the next generation.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is not a selfish thing, bro. Oh my goodness. Bob, I think the other thing that we need to talk about today is just there's a lot of balls flying around in the world today. And I'm talking about spherical, unknown objects in the sky, Bob, not what you were thinking. So get your mind out of our last conversation here. Now, obviously, the first one, we know what it was. Spy balloon from China. Okay. I'm not even going to talk about why I think it's stupid. Well, maybe I will just for a second, that we didn't shoot it down when we saw it first over Montana. We waited till it got completely across the United States to shoot it over in South Carolina, which to me has a more highly populated density versus Montana. And that was the reason they didn't shoot over. That's okay. It's gone. We already know what it was. We already found the remains over the Atlantic Ocean. We've got to, inspect and research everything there. It was definitely a spy balloon from China. Now, since then, there's been 3 more spheres, unidentified objects that have been shot down or over some parts of North America. Bob, what say you?
So there was a couple in Canada, right? So one was, I want to say one was like the size of 3 cars.
Yeah, right? There was one in Lake Huron, and then one in the Yukon territories, which very, very sparsely populated, horribly cold, and then one in Alaska. So there's your 3 right there.
So interesting thing about these is, so we got with Canada, and they decided, they asked us to just bring our F-22s over there to take care of them. And so, we did. We weren't far away. We made quick work of it. But then now they're like, well, we can't find them because it was densely populated. And so just in fact, a couple hours before the show, I read that they just now called the search off because they can no longer they can't find them. So a couple of interesting things about this is, first of all, the F-22 Raptor pilot of the one over the Yukon said that there was no visible signs of propulsion on the object. Now, these guys know a lot about aerodynamics and astrophysics, and they're the best of the best, right? We can work our whole life and never be as good or as smart or as have a large dick like these pilots, right?
Oh my goodness.
So these guys are the best of the best. And when some dude makes an analysis on a flyby that says, hey, this thing doesn't have any propulsion, how is it being guided? And then it gets the word to shoot it down, and they go shoot it down. Then I guess they look for weeks, allegedly, and now they allegedly have given up the search. I have a theory that they followed, the choppers were there before it even got shot down. They shot it down, they scooped it up, and then just said we couldn't find it, right? I mean, doesn't that
100%.
make sense?
100%. And I think it was strategically shot down. Like, it was shot down at the right time, with the right kind of ammunition to make sure they could go retrieve it right away, to make sure, regardless of how remote it was, that we get our hands on this before anybody else does. I think this is top secret shit. And I think it's interesting that it's only been like a couple of weeks and they've already called off the search, publicly called off the search. Like, no, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, folks. Move right along. There's been multiple unidentified objects over our airspace recently, and we're not even going to look into it anymore. What's going on with the economy? How's inflation? How are gas prices? Let's move along.
Yeah, let's move on to some like culture wars or some shit.
What the fuck? Is somebody killing a black man somewhere? We need to move along from the spheres. It's interesting, dude, because nobody will tell you what they are. They keep referring to them as objects. They first were saying balloons because of the association with the Chinese spy balloon. Then they switchly changed that narrative and that language to objects. They continuously are calling them unidentified objects, and we're not going to have any official documentation that's public to the American people on what the fuck it actually is. That's a problem with me, especially since they just announced this whole transparency about UFOs a couple of years ago, right? With the government. And as soon as something happens, that's legitimately the textbook definition of an unidentified flying object. And they're not going to tell us what the fuck it is.
Yeah, interesting, Bob. Something doesn't sit right on that one. Obviously, they're just not telling us. I'm sure they have these things. They're studying them. Now, is it UFOs like in the traditional sense? Is it aliens? Probably not. Is it probably some sort of tech that maybe Russia kicked up, or another Chinese tech or something? Probably. But yeah, either way, we're not getting told what it is. Which, I guess we can't bitch except for the Alaska one. I mean, the other two happened over Canada. I guess that's on them to tell everyone what it is. But
well, yeah,
we are kind of getting the shaft here.
Is it a enlarged shaft?
It's a 25% larger shaft.
24, Bob, get it right. God damn.
Wishful thinking. One thing that we didn't have a chance to get hit on, which we'll probably hit on next week. We really need to talk about this train in Ohio.
Yes. East Palestine. Palestine? Palestine.
Potato. I don't think it matters.
I don't know, but
it's the same thing.
The Jews don't like Palestine. That's all I know.
Probably not. They call it East Palestine.
Jesus. No, we're definitely going to talk about that, because that is that's a whole other story. I mean, you're right. That's a whole other show right there, but we'll get into that. There's been a lot going on. I think the silliest thing that's going on that we didn't talk about, but I want to bring it to light right now, is Jimmy Carter's not doing well. He's probably going to die. He just entered home hospice care.
Isn't he 99?
He's 98 years old.
98.
But you know what? Here's my point of bringing this up. When he dies, because it's imminent, you know who the oldest living president is going to be?
Bill Clinton.
Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Biden has Bill Clinton, George W. by 4 years right now. They're both 76. Barack Obama is 61. And of course, George Bush Sr. died like 5-6 years ago or whatever. That is a problem right there. So I think we'll talk about that next week as well, that the oldest living president is the current president. That's the current president when Jimmy Carter dies at 98, and that dude was president fucking before we were born. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That means he was president when he was like Obama's age. You know what I mean? Crazy stuff. But anyways, more to come here on the Stiff Truth. Bobby, it was great chatting with you as always. I'm glad we're back at it, baby. And yes, we're gonna be back on the regular regimen of more new, exciting stiff cocktails and just some great discussion and just telling it like it is with me and Bob West here. So thanks for joining us, guys. Again, we're going to be back at it next week. Don't forget to support the show if you love us. If you don't love us, that's okay. We don't like you either. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Let us know if you want a shirt. Bye.